can we just start by getting your reaction when you saw those comments from Diane Abbot?
Well, I woke up to so many responses and reading the letter that had been published in the Observer and receiving many responses of deep anguish and upset from members of the British Jewish community who were just flabbergasted, as I was, to see her comments in the letter that was published. A very, very dark moment this morning.
And were you surprised? I mean, given that the Labour Party has been embroiled in this huge row about anti-Semitism with Jeremy Corbyn, the issue has not gone away. It's been in the spotlight for a long time. Were you surprised that a politician of this seniority could say something like this?
I was shocked for many different reasons. I obviously know Diane Abbott. I served alongside her in the House of Commons for just shy of a decade. Diane Abbott came into Parliament in 1987, and she has proudly and rightly campaigned on lots of issues to do with racism, but that means that she should be more alive to these issues than most. She represents a constituency in Hackney, North and Stoke Newington, which is home to many of the British Jewish community, including the Orthodox Jewish community, so she would have been even closer to these issues than other members of Parliament from across the UK. And she also will have seen and felt and been part of the very troubling experience within the Labour Party from around 2015 onwards, which saw Jeremy Corbyn most recently prevented from standing again as a Labour candidate, and the Equality and Human Rights Commission fined the Labour Party guilty of the victimisation and intimidation of its Jewish members, which has led to it being in special measures. Those special measures have now been lifted and the party has now turned a corner. But it's been a very, very dark moment. And the idea that Diane should proactively write a letter in response to an article that was raising kind of the nuances and some of the intricacies and difficulties around how we deal with racism in this country seems just incredulous, really.
Now, you've said that the Labour Party has turned a corner. You yourself have rejoined the Labour Party. But do you feel it really has turned a corner when an incident like this has happened and clearly there's still a problem?
Well, clearly this incident shows that there is still some distance in our country for people to be alive to and understand the issues of anti-Jewish racism and how they present themselves. And again, I should add that kind of one of the particular issues of contention around this idea, reading the letter in response, is that all British Jews, or in fact Jews across the world, are white. Now, there are many Black Jews as well, so to essentially isolate them from their lived experience seems extraordinary as well. I judge, obviously, the Labour Party today by its actions under the leader, under Sir Keir Starmer, and rightly, I think today he's been very swift in his response and the party's response to suspend the whip from Diane Abbott pending an investigation. I think all things flow from the leadership, but clearly what we see today is a need for more education.
Now, Diane Abbott has said that she distances herself from those comments. She sort of claims that a draft was sent by accident. Now, there is an investigation going on. But do you think, if she says sorry and, if it was a mistake, do you think that the whip should be given back to her by the leadership of the Labour Party?
I'm not going to presuppose the outcomes of any investigation. I just find it, again, forgive me for kind of repeating the word, but extraordinary that these words would be committed to paper or typed on a computer screen in the first instance, even if they were, as the statement says, an earlier draft. It's just unacceptable, and it's particularly unacceptable amongst the backdrop of the pain and suffering that the Labour Party has endured because of the issues of anti-Semitism and anti-Jewish racism. Even more reason for people in positions of responsibility to be even more vigilant and thoughtful about their actions and the words that they say. So I would struggle to see a way in which this could be explained or would be acceptable, because I don't believe that it is, and I'm just deeply shocked by everything that I've seen this morning.
Now, you've mentioned that a lot of this has stemmed from the reaction from the leadership, that they've moved swiftly. But to many people out there, Luciana, including many people from the Jewish community, what will they take from this? Because yes, you have joined the Labour Party again, and Keir Starmer has said, look, I really want to get rid of anti-Semitism from the Labour Party. But many Jewish people and their allies will see this, and won't they just be put off the Labour Party again? Doesn't this set the Labour Party back?
I mean, it certainly does set the Labour Party back, and I say that judging by the responses that I've seen from just Jewish people across the UK who've tweeted today, some of which I've been copied into. So I have seen some of the response, and understandably, it's full of anguish and hurt and deep upset. Again, it's even more reason, I think, for Sir Keir Starmer to do even more to overcome this issue and to compensate for those people that are, continue to make the wrong choice and say totally appalling things. I was struck by some of the comments that we've seen today from John Landsman. John Landsman was one of the founders of the Momentum Group, which was a Jeremy Corbyn supporting organisation that sat just outside the Labour Party, and he has been pretty scathing in his remarks today. He called it a disgraceful comment, and I think rightly highlighted the fact that racism can never be a competition. So this is not just a kind of a left-right issue within the Labour Party. There are many people for whom this is completely unacceptable. But again, it's this issue continues to raise its very, very ugly head, and shows why it's even more incumbent on Sir Keir Starmer and the leadership of the party to be doing everything possible to root it out and to provide the Jewish community with confidence that they can be represented by the Labour Party, and that's why there's even more work for the party to do.